Hello there. In this video, I'm going to provide a brief introduction to the Legato system in Cinematic Studio solo strings. When you load a patch, Legato sustains are selected by default. As you begin playing a legato passage, you'll notice the legato speed meter starts changing as you play each new note. The meter itself is a general indicator of how hard you're hitting the keys, and how hard you hit them determines the legato speed being triggered. With standard mode, there are two speeds, medium and fast. I recommend using medium for most of your melodies, and these can be triggered by playing the keys fairly lightly, no higher than a velocity of 64. Playing a bit harder will trigger the fast legato speed, which I recommend using sparingly in short runs, grace notes, and occasions when you need a slightly more immediate attack on any particular note. Every time you play a new note, there will be a slight delay between when you press the key and when you hear the new note begin. This is because what you're triggering is a real live performance of a musician changing from one note to another. As in real life, this doesn't happen instantly. The player needs to move their hand to the correct position, adjust bow pressure, and often cross to a different string. We have always felt that including this small moment in time in our samples is fundamental to achieving a realistic sound. So, to compensate for the delay, I recommend practicing by playing along to a click track for half an hour or so. This should help you start to feel comfortable in playing slightly ahead of the beat. The delay for medium legato is roughly 250 milliseconds, while the fast legato is about 125. If you prefer working by quantizing notes to the grid, this means you can offset them by the appropriate amount in your sequence's MIDI pre-delay settings, or simply by moving the note starts back. But personally, I recommend playing the parts in real time, as this usually results in a more human sound. You'll also notice that advanced legato can be activated by clicking this switch. This mode was introduced specifically for our full string section library, Cinematic Studio Strings, to maximize realism by taking into account the extra time it takes an entire section to change to a new note. For this reason, advanced mode offers an additional slow legato speed, which has a bit more delay than the medium setting, roughly 1/3 of a second. However, because a single player requires less time to change notes, this mode is not required for the solo strings library, but we have included it in case you need to pair the solo strings with advanced mode in CSS. But I personally recommend using standard legato for the solo strings, as the smaller delay more accurately reflects live playing. If you're writing for first chair, I also recommend using standard mode for both the solo strings and the CSS full section. It's the most realistic option and easier to use than advanced. And lastly, if you prefer a minimal amount of delay for legato playing, you might like to try the classic legato patches. These are set to always use the fast setting, and new users of our libraries might find this easier. However, I would suggest moving over to the main patches when you're ready, because they sound more realistic. Okay, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please send us an email via our website. Thanks a lot.